breaking news alerts, overnight news, plus weather and traffic every 10 minutes. This is CBS 47 on your side this morning.
I'll be worried too, my kid was missing.
Coming up on CBS 47 this morning, a happy ending in Sacramento. Some Fresno kids found safe by the FBI. A winter wildfire coming very close to homes in Southern California.
Instead of compromising, the White House and Congress allow massive spending cuts to begin today. I'm Susan McGinnis in Washington. Coming up, with no deal in sight, Congress leaves town for a long weekend.
Good morning to you on this Friday. I'm Zara Arboleta. It is 5 a.m. We're in the mid-40s outside our studio, so it should be a nice, warm weekend for the Fresno Home and Garden Show. Mike Scott will join us live from there in just a bit. But first, Jenny Toasty standing by with Pinpoint Weather. Good morning.
Good morning, Zara. Good morning, everybody. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous for anything you want to do outside. So Home and Garden Show, perfect idea, or really anything this weekend. Let's take a look at our live Pinpoint Doppler, show you what's going on. Clear skies over our area, so nothing to prohibit that big warm-up today. Temperatures are staying pretty warm compared to yesterday. Right now we're at 47 in Fresno, 38 in Hanford, the rest of the valley in the low to mid-40s this morning. So temperatures are up a couple degrees, and we'll see that continue into the afternoon. Low 50s at 8 o'clock. Will be in the 60s by 10 this morning, upper 60s by noon, with 75 for your high today. So in the sunshine, it's going to be pretty warm. We'll talk about the rest of your weekend forecast in a couple minutes.
7 Fresno children who disappeared last weekend are safe this morning. They were found yesterday at their father's home in Sacramento. FBI agents were the ones who found them unharmed and in good spirits. Neighbors back here are happy to know the kids are safe.
We happy to be hear the good news and not hear the bad news. So we don't want to hear it at all.
The Fresno and Sacramento police departments are now looking into whether any crimes were committed while the children were away from their mother and stepdad. An update now to a story we covered live all morning long yesterday. An 8-year-old girl continues to recover after she got shot in the stomach. She was sleeping on the couch in her home. A car drove by the house off 4th Street, then started shooting.
The older brothers of the gunshot victim are gang members. We believe they were the intended targets.
My heart went out, man. Like, I hugged the parents, the mother and the daughter, and told her I'll pray for her kids.
Police are still talking to witnesses, trying to come up with a description of the car and the gunman. And a winter wildfire continues to burn this morning in Riverside County. Several homes are still evacuated, but none of them have caught fire. The blaze has burned about 150 acres so far and is 20% contained. In Tulare County this morning, investigators there are still looking to what sparked a deadly house fire in Woodlake. 98-year-old Isabel Rodriguez was found dead once the crews had the flames knocked down. Detectives, though, are still waiting for an autopsy to figure out when and how the woman died. A man hit by a freight train in Madera is still in the hospital this morning. He apparently wandered onto the tracks near Gateway in Yosemite and just couldn't get out of the way in time. He does have several broken bones, but is expected to survive. Fresno will hold a special election on June 4th, so voters will decide on whether to privatize residential trash service. The council voted 4-3 last night to move forward with the election. The mayor says the city needs to privatize trash service to help close a $1 million budget gap, but the city will have to fork over another $1 million just to hold the election. Leaders believe in the end, giving trash service to a private company is a smart investment.
We just need to let the citizens of the city of Fresno tell us now where to go on this issue.
90% of California cities use private haulers.
Short-term Band-Aid that promises to be a long-term disaster.
Some called on the council to hold the special election next year, but they rejected that idea. Much more on the story coming up in our next half hour. And it looks like there will be no last-minute deal to avoid those steep spending cuts in Washington. Susan McGinnis has an update from Capitol Hill.
Congress left the Capitol Thursday night for a long weekend, killing any chance at avoiding across-the-board budget cuts which kick in starting today.
It is a day when soon people will be getting a pink slip.
President Obama has until midnight to sign the order mandating $85 billion in budget cuts. But before he signs, he'll host a meeting with Democratic and Republican leaders in Congress, leaders who spent Thursday blaming each other.
I'm happy to work with the president, but the House has done its job. It's time for the Senate to do their job.
They've done nothing. They fall back on something they passed last Congress.
The cuts were intended to be so painful that both sides would agree to an alternative plan. But neither side would budge on the main issue, raising tax revenue to pay down the debt.
They're determined to protect the wealthiest of the wealthy.
And how much more money do we want to steal from the American people to fund more government? I'm for no more.
Still, with more than half of the cuts aimed at the Pentagon, there are some lawmakers ready to deal.
And I stand ready to put everything on the table to prevent what could be, in the words of the departing Secretary of Defense, a devastating blow to our ability to defend this nation.
But as of today, the cuts will be the law of the land until Congress and the White House are willing to compromise. Susan McGinnis, CBS News, Washington.
46 degrees at 5:06. The FAA bent out of shape over this video, a plane full of people doing the Harlem Shake.
We got hit again, and then we realized that several high-end bikes were taken from us.
A Clovis bike shop out thousands of dollars. The crime caught on tape.
Who will replace the Pope now that he has resigned? I'm Vanita Nair in Rome with that story.
I'm Alexis Christoforous. Stocks start a new month within reach of a record high, and Groupon CEO is out. That and more coming up in your CBS Money Watch.
And today is the Fresno Home and Garden Show's first day. The gates opening out at the fairgrounds in just a few hours. Mike Scott will join us live with a preview coming up.